All right, today in Core 1, we are taking a look at the Pythagorean Theorem, which is something you should have seen before. Now, before we take a look at it and apply it to triangles, I want us to look at the purpose of the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem is a proof. It works two different ways. We're going to look at it forward and backwards. So what it says is Pythagorean Theorem states if we have a right triangle. Now, this uses an if and only if statement, which is also abbreviated sometimes IFF. So we have a right triangle if and only if a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, a, b, and c come from our right triangle. C is always the hypotenuse. It is always the longest side of the triangle. A and B can be either of these sides, but to keep things simple, if you want, A can be your shortest side, B your medium, C your longest. It's a way to keep things simple. Now, the way the theorem is usually applied is you're told you have a right triangle, you need to find a missing side length. However, today we're going to look at the forwards as well as the backwards. We're going to have a triangle with three side lengths, and we're going to determine if it is a right triangle. Now, here's the worksheet that I sent home today. A little bit of practice in class, a little bit of homework. The entire front side is working things forward. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this will take. We know this is a right triangle. Therefore, a squared plus b squared equals c squared should work. I'm going to make a my shortest side, b my medium, c my longest. So I have 14 squared plus 15 squared equals x squared. Now, squared, remember, means times itself. So I'm going to take 14 and do it times itself. And I get 196. I'm going to take 15 times itself. And I get 225. That equals x squared. I add those two numbers. I get 421 equals x squared. Now, final step, to get rid of the squared, I do square root. 421. Now on the calculator, that shows up with just that symbol. So on the graphing calculator, it's down here in yellow, which means we're going to press second and then this button. 421, enter, and there's my answer. Now, it's going to be a decimal that goes on forever. Not all of them will be, but very often they will. We're going to round it to 20.52. And our units in this case are inches. So 20.52 inches. And that is our missing side length. Now, it's kind of different if you're not solving for the longest side length, but instead you're solving for one of the shorter ones, such as in problem number 5. First, I'm going to label it the same. A is shortest, B is medium, C is longest. So I have 7 squared plus x squared equals 22 squared. Now I'm going to show you the calculations this time. So 7 squared is 7 times 7. I get 49. Plus x squared, and then 22 times 22. Enter. I get 484. I add those two numbers. Nope, I don't add those two numbers. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. In this time, because we're not solving for the longest side, we don't follow the same exact steps up here. Notice up here, the x squared is already on its own. Down here, it's got a neighbor, 49. To move that to the other side, I have to minus 49. So we have to remember this from our regular algebra. So we have x squared equals, let's see, 5, 3, 435. Once again, square root 435. And I get 20.86 and centimeters. Now, you should always go back and check, does our answer make sense? Well, in this case, we're solving for the medium length side, so it should be between 7 and 22, and it is. Up here, we're solving for the longest length side. It should be between, sorry, not between, above 14 and 15, and yes, it is. All right. On the back, we are practicing the reverse of the Pythagorean theorem, which means we are going to try a squared plus b squared equals c squared and see if it actually works. So let's try it on a right here. Now, this one you probably should recognize looks a little bit different because we don't have a short, medium, and long. All sides are the same length. So I'm going to use A, B, C. I'm going to do my work down here. So for triangle A, it's going to be 15 squared plus 15 squared equals 15 squared. So that should already start not making sense. 15 squared is 225. So plus 225 equals 225. 450 equals 225. No, it does not equal. Therefore, it is not a right triangle. So I'm going to take that one, cross it off. Okay, it's off my list. Now, let's try another one. Let's go down here and try this 3, 4, 5 triangle. This time I do have a shortest, medium, and longest. A, B, C. So let's go down here. This is triangle E. I have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. 3 squared is 9, or sorry, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 16 equals 25. 9 plus 16 equals 25. 25 equals 25. Since that one works, yes, it's square, or sorry, not square, right. So I circled that one. Now, go ahead and apply that to the rest of the problems, both in the front and the back, and bring it back with questions and hopefully mostly completed.